So should you buy Ghost Recon Breakpoint in 2023? I played Breakpoint for the first time in 2021, and that was after they fixed a lot of the problems people were complaining about, and it was when the Operation Amber Rainbow Six Siege inspired event was taking place. So my first experience with the game was a very good experience, and I had a great impression of the game. But Ghost Recon Breakpoint doesn't look the same way it did at the beginning of 2021 when I played. It actually is a lot better. So let's go over what you can expect from Ghost Recon Breakpoint if you buy it right now in 2023. So the biggest update you're going to find as soon as you launch Ghost Recon Breakpoint is the fact that they have this DLC called Operation Motherland that was free for everyone, and it really did change the game. The mode acts as a conquest mode, and it's this new alternative mode to the classic Ghost Recon Breakpoint story mode with an emphasis on player actions having consequences on the island of Aurora. A variety of missions will be available to choose from, including destroying objectives, securing enemy camps, stealing vehicles, and choosing to extract or eliminate the 4 Bodark lieutenants. And as the player progresses through Operation Motherland, they will free the open world from the clutches of the Bodark with the help of Outcast and Karen Bowman. Now, this conquest mode also marks the return of faction warfare to Ghost Recon Breakpoint. As players conquer Aurora, the Outcast presence will increase in the wild and encampments, and making faction warfare more frequent. You'll notice road checkpoints, convoys, hostage situations, and patrols fill the island based on faction presence. These events will vary in difficulty according to the respective regions. So this conquest mode was literally a big game changer for Ghost Recon Breakpoint, as well as it being very similar to the kind of structure and formula of the Ghost Recon Wildland games, which was very, very highly praised. The mode also came with this optical camo for your operative. So you can sneak past enemies, but also enemies also have access to this camo. And sometimes it was actually hard to spot where the enemy was. And Operation Motherland was the last update for Ghost Recon Breakpoint. And although I never completed it, I did play quite a bit of it to understand how it works. And the game was pretty new to me still at the time. So it felt like I just had so much to do and so much content to play in this game. Also, alongside Operation Motherland, there are so many updated seasonal events that you can still play in the game. There's the Amber Skies DLC that introduced the Rainbow Six Siege operatives as your AI teammates. There was a Terminator DLC that added Terminators to the world with its own storyline, but unfortunately that one got removed due to the expiry of the Terminator license from Ubisoft. There was also a live event known as the Resistance, which you can still play today too. These live events also added a lot of weapons and new skins for the game too. And besides the Terminator event, you can still play both these live events today and play their very short campaigns, which usually have their own game mechanic to it too. Now, the main campaign itself is very, very enjoyable, and one of the reasons I wanted to play it was definitely because of Jon Bernthal. He's one of my favorite actors, and I loved him in Walking Dead and The Punisher, so I really wanted to see what his role would be in this game, and he was really the highlight of the campaign. So the story is set in 2025, 6 years after the events of Wildlands and 1 year after the events of Future Soldier. The story takes place on Aurora, a fictional island in the South Pacific owned by a billionaire entrepreneur, Jace Skell. Skell is the founder of Skell Technology, a blue chip company producing drones for commercial applications, but the company has also found success as a military contractor. Skell then purchased Aurora with a vision of turning it into a hub for the design, research and development for his products. However, the main antagonist is former Ghost Lieutenant Colonel D. Walker, played by Jon Bernthal, who has gone rogue after leaving the army after witnessing his fighting being slaughtered on a mission in Bolivia. He then has his own kind of rogue soldier group called the Wolves, and now you are trapped on the island with him, and your job is to help the resistance fight back against the Wolves. And some of the best scenes in the game are Jon Bernthal's cinematic scenes. Compare it to Giancarlo Esposito in Far Cry 6, where you didn't really see him much, but his cinematic scenes where he is present are very, very well delivered and are great cutscenes. I wouldn't say this is one of the greatest campaigns ever, or it's a definite must play, but it is a very good experience, and I do recommend you guys giving it a go, especially for those Jon Bernthal cutscenes. And if all that wasn't enough, there's also DLC campaigns as well included in the season pass. There's one called Deep State, which introduces Sam Fisher into the game, and Michael Ironside reprises his role as Sam Fisher too. And the second big DLC is the Red Patriot DLC, which features the return of Scott Mitchell from Future Soldier. There's also this DLC called Project Titan, which takes place on a previously inaccessible island called Gollum Island, which has some very hard enemies to fight. Now, your player character is tasked with destroying Skell Tech's Titan drone zones and preventing Sentinel from manufacturing more. And you go up against some very strong enemies, including these types of tank drones, and it's just a very cool experience. So the post-launch content for this game was absolutely phenomenal. So let's talk a little bit about the gameplay. So the gameplay is literally amazing. It's so smooth and fluid. The guns feel absolutely incredible, and I think that is one of the things that gets you very addicted to this game. It really made me want to explore the island to find enemy encampments and just go in, stealthily take them down, maybe go in guns blazing, trying different things, maybe go in by stealthing and just killing everyone with the knife. And the tactical gameplay is just some of the best out there. And what's really great is that it plays in 60 frames per second in performance mode on PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series 2. And like I said, with the Amber Sky DLC, there is also a couple new game mechanics added, like the breaching of doors, and also there's this kind of poison mist that's in the sky where you have to put on your gas mask and keep on changing your air filters, but that's only when you set the world parameters for the Amber Sky DLC. Just like Wildland, you can throw your drone up in the air, recon the area, you can prone and tag enemies. You've got a whole variety of different weapons to choose from, and the gameplay is just absolutely superb. But one of the annoying things to many people when this game released anyway was the fact that they really tried to put all these RPG elements into this game, and that style really doesn't fit the Ghost Recon game. So what the developers did was give you so many different options in the settings, and they introduced this new immersive mode which just took away all these RPG elements and gave the players complete access to all the world parameters, the difficulty, whether you want to see drones or not, HUD settings, how close you want the shoulder camera to your character, how hard you want certain enemies to be, and it really gave the option of making this game play as the way you want it to be. So let's talk a little bit about the open world itself, the island of Aurora. It's a very large map. You're definitely going to need a chopper to get around, and there are so many different types of enemy encampments and bases that you can raid around the world. However, the big problem with this world is that it feels so empty. It feels as if nobody is living in this world, and that's because there is nobody living in this world. Compared to Ghost Recon Wildland, which the world just felt amazing, and I think it was because the game was based on an actual city in real life. I think it was Bolivia, and you have so many NPC citizens. However, in Breakpoint, you only see a couple of NPC citizens or scientists in these kind of laboratory areas or these kind of empty estates, and it's a shame that they couldn't do anything about this in post development, and we never really got an update for this open world being more dense and full of life because of the way they initially designed this open world. In terms of AI teammates, I didn't really use them all that much. However, when I did, I used the Rainbow Six Siege operatives as my AI teammates instead. And it's amazing that you can sync shots at the same time. You can go in as a squad, take down enemies. And when the game launched, there was no AI teammates in the game. And that's so crazy because Wildlands actually had great AI teammates that you can play as. And I feel like playing with and without AI teammates gives totally different experiences to the player. I personally play in single player solo without AI teammates, well, for the majority of time anyway, but I did really enjoy my experiences with the AI teammates. You can also play this game co-op with your friends. However, I had no friends to play this game with, unfortunately, so I can't really give you much of a review on that. Moving on to graphics, I think the graphics of this game were absolutely incredible, especially for its time, and if you're playing on PC, there are actually graphical lighting mods that you can play too. That's just the magic of PC. You can mod a lot of games, and Ghost Recon is no exception. I think there's also some armor and weapon mods that you can add also if you're into the modding scene. However, on Xbox Series X, the game performs amazingly, 60 frames per second, like I said, 4K. I don't think it's native 4K, but it looks pretty good, and the graphics do look pretty good as well. So in the graphics department, the game looks pretty good, and also like the weapon designs and armor designs, they look very well crafted and highly detailed. And I'm a big fan of when my character looks like a badass. There is just so much variety in the way the weapons look. The attachments of the weapons look well on the guns too. There's a lot of clothing variety, armor variety, and all of it looks pretty great in this game. But remember that this is a Ubisoft game, and you will see a lot of that Ubisoft formula in this game, of course, in the fact that it is an open world. Not all of the missions are exciting, they do feel repetitive at times. But one of the things that got me through it was, of course, the gameplay, the great cinematic scenes of the story, but character interactions do feel quite dull sometimes, especially when they're not in that cinematic mode. But it's great that at any time you can switch between the story mode, conquest mode, change the world parameters to play the Amber Sky live event or the Resistance live event. You can try playing without the HUD, play in full immersive mode. There is so much different settings settings you can tweak to your lighting. I also want to quickly talk about the vehicles. I think the motorbikes don't feel great at all. They feel so stiff and rugged, and definitely doesn't complement the smoothness and fluidity of the boots on the ground gameplay. However, the main 4x4 vehicles and the choppers feel great. They get the job done. I would just avoid all the motorbikes in this game. And the pricing of this game is very, very cheap. I've seen it go on sale a lot of times on the PlayStation Store and Xbox Store, and I personally got my disc copy of the Xbox version for about £6 on eBay. And 8 months later, I really wanted to play the game on PlayStation 2, so I went on eBay again and I got the disc version for PlayStation 4 for a little bit more expensive. It was £8 on PlayStation 4 that I got it for back in 2021, but I've seen it go on for £5. People have bought it for on PlayStation now and also on Xbox. But one of the things I definitely recommend if you're playing on Xbox or PlayStation is look out for the PlayStation and Xbox Store deals, because you can actually get the Ultimate Edition or the Gold Edition for like £15, and that way you get access to the season pass, which includes the Red Patriots and Deep State DLC too. I think the Ultimate Edition comes with some ghost tokens, which is the tokens for the microtransaction store, which you don't really need, but if the Ultimate Edition is on sale for like $15, then I definitely recommend getting that one. But I do usually see the Ultimate and Gold Edition on sale when the game does go on sale on the Xbox and PlayStation Store. So for this very, very low price, you can get one of the best tactical shooter open world games on the market today, packed with so much DLC and post-launch content, an incredible second game mode in the Conquest mode, a decent story with incredible acting and amazing cutscenes from John Bernthal, great tactical gameplay, and some of the smoothest gun gameplay I've seen in the game today. I think games that beat it in terms of gameplay is like Last of Us Part 2, and I definitely wish that the sequel to Breakpoint really has that kind of Last of Us Part 2 style gameplay. And I've made a few videos on the next Ghost Recon game on this channel, along with the Prince of Persia series and Splinter Cell. If you're interested in brand new game updates, go ahead and watch the rest of the videos on my channel. I'll leave them in the description and pinned comment section below. But I highly recommend you buying Ghost Recon Breakpoint, especially for 2023 in the given state that the game is in, and the fact that there is no more updates for the game. And it's unfortunate that they left on a sour note, because they tried to implement NFTs to the game in 2021. And I think that was the last thing that the developers did for the game. I think that was definitely a Ubisoft push by the higher ups of the company. It was a very stupid move, and it's a shame that after all the work that they put into this game and the fact that they got this game up to the standard that they wanted it to be, they ended it by adding NFTs, and it was just a very scummy move by Ubisoft. But I don't know if that was the devs' idea. I doubt it. I'm sure it came from the higher ups. They definitely thought that this was a dead game, we might as well try out this NFT thing, and if it works out, we'll put it in all of our games. But overall, Ghost Recon Breakpoint, I definitely recommend that you buy it in 2023. You can buy it right now, definitely for cheap on eBay, and I prefer to have a physical copy myself. But if you're a digital person, go ahead and wait for the sales. It might be on sale right now on PlayStation Store and Xbox Store, and you can definitely find it for very cheap on PC too. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Go ahead and watch my future Ghost Recon game update videos. The next game is reportedly being called Project Over. That's its codename, and we go over all the details about it so far. And we also go over the Splinter Cell remake, The Last of Us Part 3, Star Wars upcoming games, and so much more. Guys, thanks so much for watching. Peace out. God bless. Hope to see you in one of my next videos. Take care, guys.
I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign. I feel like I'm losing my mind.